Yeah, I'm Mishmash, and today I'm doing the intro for Arthur as he's off on some gay little adventure. So you're stuck with me for the intro, and the outro, I guess. You ever just been stuck with the innate desire to impose your will on others without any consequences for your actions? Just absolutely crack their fingers like glow sticks, shock them like a mouse on an electric fence, send your awesome cybernetic mastiff to go over and bite them on the crotch, and so on and so forth. Cosplay Judge Dredd. Well, the Arbites are definitely the faction for you. And quite frankly, I'm never gonna dislike something that's from the old, goofier side of 40k. And don't get me wrong, I'm always happy with something new and original, but I liked it a little bit better when 40k was pretty proud about just blatantly ripping something off. What can I say? I'm a bit of an old-headed heart. Though I think it is more than fair to say that there is far more than meets the eye when it comes to the Arbites. They're not simply space cops. Okay, they are just space cops, but I think it is definitely reductive to reduce them to a two-word label. More of a three-word label: judge, jury, and executioner. The veiny roid rage arm of the law. Any Imperial citizen that even dares to jaywalk within their presence better get used to the taste of the curb. But they look damn cool, so it's okay, I guess. I mean, honest to God, the art of these guys just never fails. Every piece of them, even the modern stuff, still looks really cool. And though I do have a great appreciation and even kind of prefer the older models of these guys, their newer edition models and overall design are actually pretty freaking sweet, if I have to say so myself. Keeping them pretty damn close to their original design is something that I appreciate greatly. And not to mention just how many cool weapons these guys have. Again, don't let the Space Cop label fool you. These guys are more than well equipped to take on all forms of threats. The only beanbags the Lawbringer shotguns are shooting are yours. That's rotten. I'm sorry. I mean, it's true, it probably is, but still rotten. Let's be fair, it's not as if the brave men and women of the Adeptus Arbites are all too worried about honorable practices. They have one job, and that is to enforce Imperial law. Now, without further ado, I'm gonna quit yapping. Check me out at Mishmash Painting. I do all kinds of cool 40k kit bashes and painting tutorials, as well as Quar. Also want to mention that this was a members-only video for a while, so if you want to become a channel member and get access to videos early, as well as help out my good buddy Arthur, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm sure he would too. But enough the promotional stuff. Get yourself tucked in, have a nice drink, because Arthur's got a good helping of police brutality coming up.
What? Oh, holy shit. I'm back. Canned gamer subs? Of course I'll do it. Nah, don't run. You can't escape the flavor. Gamer subs is back, boys, and so am I. Literally landing home with the same grace of a brick dropped from a high-rise. I just got back from Ohio Wednesday, so I have time to obviously work on nothing but a Gamer Subs ad for this week. Obviously, nothing else. In my dreams, I see that drink Gamer Subs, and then somehow they show up at my door without me being warned or asking for it. I've changed addresses 3 times now, and they still keep coming. This week, with something kind of new and awesome, and also equally as eldritch. Officially, we got real-ass energy drinks, boys. Coming in some of my favorite flavors, and actually really tasty. GamerSub sent me a couple to try while I was gone on my trip, and of course, the first thing I did when I got back was pop about 4 of them into me. They actually scratch an itch for me. I love carbonated beverages, and they still have like the low calories that a regular GamerSubs would have, albeit a little bit sweeter than normal. Still cheaper than traditional energy drinks by quite a lot, actually. They come in a blind box single can for $3, a 12-pack for $33, though also if you're crazy, they come in the mega pallet, which is horrifying. Carbonated good has brought me back to peak efficiencies since I landed, and I know it would do the same for you too. So use my code BONEZONE at checkout for 10% off your purchase, and also you can be happy knowing that you're supporting the channel. Thanks again to GamerSubs for invading my dreams, and let's head back to me from the past to talk about the Arbites in an old video. Hi, I'm Arthur, and this is a members exclusive video for Arthur Lords and above. Well, there really isn't any above at the moment, but you all don't know. I could lose my grip on reality at some point and start to over-monetize my channel further. But till that day, or at least a year from now when this video is released publicly. Hi, hello to you Arthur Lords. Welcome and thanks for supporting me. Today, we are talking about the Arbites officers. 'Twas a fun idea I've been rattling around my brain meats for a little while, and I wanted to cover the other parts of Imperial culture rather than just Space Marines and the Inquisition. No one really tends to talk about them that much, or they just make one video and then move on, so, well, I mean, I think it's my turn to make a video and then move on, but you know. So let's just cover the different branches that the High Lords are kind of in charge of. And there is a High Lord dedicated to the Arbites officers, which I think is interesting. And I think this video could be fun. And the Arbites, of which are obviously not a knockoff of Judge Dredd in the slightest, are kind of one of my favorite parts of Imperial culture. There are a lot of misconceptions about Arbites, but there is some fun shit to talk about, so I'm just gonna go over their basics as well as the few fun facts that I know about them, and then let you all on your way. So to start off, what even is an Arbites? The biggest misconception is that they are simply the police of the 40k universe, which is actually incorrect. Most planets have their own police precincts. They have people who are elected from the planet's populace in order to govern their worldly laws. The Arbites is something above them, kind of above everyone else, to be honest. All the members of the Arbites, much like the majority of the most important roles in the Imperium, are inducted via the Schola Progenium. What is the Schola Progenium? If you are an orphan and are lucky, like your parents are rich, nobility, or what have you, or you just get spotted by the right person, you will be sent to the Schola Progenium. Basically a long-term education for the most important individuals in the Imperium. One of the outcomes for this is the Arbites. Sounds cool? Cool. So knowing all that, what exactly does an Arbites do? Well, for one, they essentially play the lawful neutral hand of the law. Where planetary police forces govern local laws, the Arbites, which are often found stationed on a planet, govern the laws of the entire Imperium. The ones that are dictated usually by the corrupt High Lords of Terra and need arbitration at some point. It is up to the Arbites to read from the Books of Judgment, which is a set of tomes so long, so massive, and so incredibly girthy that it could take a whole lifetime to infer what is the best way to deal with something as petty as, oh, this person was being robbed while using a shoe as a weapon. So bro just wanted to find out if in the book it said that a shoe could be counted as a weapon in order to charge them with assault with a deadly weapon. But said Arbites got up trying to find the shoe manufacturer because the Books of Judgment's response to his query was basically just, it depends on the shoe. Court proceedings would take an astronomically long amount of time to go through most times, unless it's pretty cut and dry, which kind of gets us to the next stage of the discussion, and that is, what is the authority of the Arbites? Like, what is their jurisdiction in these cases? And the answer is yes, they can make judgment calls on pretty much anything at any given moment. If they decree your sentence is death and they don't want to put you through a trial, you're dead. You just die. They'll kill you right there. Just gun to the head, you know. It's just a very 40k way of dealing with things. And in terms of the people that they have power over to judge, it's stated that there's only two groups of people that the Arbites will not prosecute. One, the High Lords of Terra, and two, the Space Marines. The reason they won't prosecute the High Lords is for corruption reasons. You know, they're their bosses and there's laws and so on and so forth. The reason they won't arrest the Space Marines is for practical ones, because, like, would you look at this man and say, yeah, sorry, sir, I know you're doing your job, but killing over 100 civilians with a chainsaw and then wearing their skin on an almost impenetrable suit of armor is a crime. You're gonna have to come with me to the local precinct so we can try you for murder. Yeah, unless you like the idea of being a fancy new hat for the mortifactors that just landed on your planet, then it's probably best to just kind of let them do their thing. Other than that, the Arbites have absolute authority to dictate what is the best response to any given crime that they perceive. See, most low-end Arbites actually only prosecute crimes that they have memorized rather than dish out citations for the most random shit. Like, if they see you committing a crime, they won't refer to the book to give the exact ruling for, hey, shooting a guy in the head for cutting in front of you at the Burger King is wrong and here's the exact punishment you're supposed to do. It's flogging, by the way, flogging with a nail-studded paddle, but, we're out here. So they won't do that. They'll just say murder, guilty, and the punishment is usually up to their discretion, but due to how brutal 40K is, you could probably piece together that the punishments these fuckers dish out are probably not the most pleasant, ranging from, on the low end, having to pay a little extra tithes in order to process your thievery for stealing a loaf of bread, all the way up to you being converted into an arco-flagellant battle penitent used to fight alongside the Ministorum and the Sisters of Battle. Everything in between is an option, so be wary out there. The way Arbites are stationed is still kind of weird as well. You'd think that the planet they were born and raised on and then inducted into the Schola Progenium from would be the one that they are stationed on, but no, Arbites are distributed where they are needed, and they are rarely, if ever, put on a planet where they were born. They cannot mingle with the populace as they need to maintain a distance so that justice can always be blind. Is it always blind? No. But corrupt Arbites are often dealt with pretty harshly, which is why, weirdly enough, the Arbites are often considered the last line of defense for the Planetary Defense Force during massive invasions of aliens and demons and what have you. They often have the best gear, the best weapons, and the best training, but are often in small numbers depending on the planet. A small backwater planet in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere will probably only have maybe one low-end Arbites officer in charge of multiple different people, but something like Terra might have thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even millions of Arbites to patrol and make sure that the few non-peasants are not being evil alien bug hybrids, which it did happen. If you want to look it up, there was a Gene Stealer cult uprising on Terra, a little bit too recent for me to be comfortable, but I digress. Another fun fact about the jurisdiction of an Arbites is that it kind of actually supersedes a lot of the Imperial authority, able to even take command of small guardsman regiments if there is some specific form of justice that needs to be dished out, though this is likely only possible when in non-war times. In general, I think the Arbites are a fun addition to the Imperial roster, though I think making them battle line for the agents of the Imperium has repercussions that cannot be undone, but regardless, what do you all think about the Arbites? As well as their obviously inspired look of Judge Dredd. I think it looks cool as all hell, and their minis are pretty dope too. Let me know in the comments what you think, and what branch of the Imperium you'd like to see next. Thanks once again for supporting me, and thanks for watching. Till next time. It's still really funny how many armies got shafted by the agents of the Imperium Codex. It legit pissed off so many friends I have. Specifically the Death Watch changes, but I'm just laughing to the bank because I had no dog in the race whatsoever, but yeah, get fucked, I guess.
Well, wasn't that just a hoot and a holler? Now, kinda odd because I have been into 40K for around 10 years by this point, but I wasn't aware of the Arbites until the Kill Team box was released. But as a result of that release, and I guess my friends being complete old heads, it kind of became a catalyst for my love and appreciation for Oldhammer. The goofy campiness and overall differences of the Rogue Trader era are something that I just find fascinating. But on the subject of the Arbites, I think it's really cool to see something that started at the very beginning and made it all the way to the current setting. Besides some key differences, they really haven't changed much. I mean, think about it. Space Marines at a time were just basically space cops, but more powerful, I guess. These space cops are just still space cops. And I like that. They don't need to change. They're a great design and a nod to something that I already love as is. Not like a ham-fisted nasty TF2 item that's just from different game. It's an already established idea, but it's taken on a different spin and established in a different universe. And I appreciate that, because that's just how writing works. Every idea under the sun has been done already, so to do something that's already cool and neat is cool. It's neat. But even though the Arbites are most definitely inspired by Judge Dredd as well as other 1980s to 70s sci-fi, there is something to be said about just how unique these guys look compared to the two. A name you might very well be familiar with, Just Goodwin is responsible for the Arbites design. And he's also responsible for innumerable pieces of concept art that would inspire 40K for nearly 40 years now. Love and care was put into these designs. And though you may think that this makes my point about not caring about blatantly ripping something off moot, kinda goes hand in hand with it. Like I said, taking something and making it your own is just how basic creativity works. They aren't simply just space cops, even though they are. They are a wonderful dash of flavor in a gothic, grimdark universe. Of the two extremes, I don't think the Imperium is looking for an Officer Murphy. In the eyes of the Adeptus Arbites, a kind heart is not exactly necessary for the interview. They just want individuals that are willing to mow people down over the slightest infractions, and occasionally pick up that can. But what do you like about the Arbites? Got any specific tales and characters that you're a particular fan of? Let Arthur know in the comments. And I'll be looking myself too. And again, check me out at Mishmash Painting. I actually did an Arbites kit bash not too long ago. But if you like this kind of content, make sure to become a channel member and get access to new videos early. But I've definitely been flapping my beak for one outro. So remember to Mishmash, kit bash, and paint some fantastic miniatures. And you're gonna. I promise. See ya.